that'd probably be a good one.
And then on 1488, if you're really hot, there was Chevron before we get to the overpass. Exactly.
105.
Something like
Gotta get everybody on film
after
before we
105,
leave.
there's another one before you get to the overpass, close to 1488. There's one on the right there too. So we have a bunch of stores. So if you get hot or whatever.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, rode into the woodlands. We picked up the group at the Alden Village Center, headed out, Research Forest, Fish Creek, Capitol Hill Road, all that's on film, into Honier, Raven Chapel, Mill Route, 2854, lots of action. We stopped at Taco Corner, then we continued off camera into the forest on Mount Pleasant Road up 149. Then we took Bethel south, went to Johnson Road, stopped in Dacus at the store there, and Mount Moriah Road via Dobbins and then Jackson past Cairn into Magnolia, and then we started to film on 1488 Eastbound. Very, very nice ride, lots of action. One of our fastest rides yet. I think you would love the clips that we put together for you.
All right, let's clip in. It's 7 o'clock. These are the people that are here. Let's do this.
All right.
All right. Paulie Lunga.
Yes, sir.
There was a threat of thunderstorms.
Hey, Eldred.
Yes, sir.
Did
So
you
we had
crack
a
this window
small,
on the camera?
Turnout.
Yeah, the cover looks cracked.
I didn't notice. See it.
Right in the corner, man. I just noticed it.
Well, if it is cracked, then it's the cover.
Yeah, it's the cover.
There's a protective cover.
You see in the corner there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Probably when we laid it down last week when we repaired that flat. I actually left the battery when we repaired that flat last week on that little pillar.
Yeah.
When we repaired your flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a protective cover on the camera.
Yeah, I
so
noticed it right away when I turned it on.
it protects the screen that we look at. Initially, when you turn the camera on, you can see like a viewfinder,
Exactly. Okay.
and then it goes to sleep.
FRS. Healthy performance. What's FRS, Mike?
It was an energy drink that sponsored. This was a U.S. military. This jersey I'm wearing. This is a nationwide club, basically, and they did have regional teams. You never really, you know, it's. I'm sure it's still going on. I didn't renew my. But the concept was great. It started about 10 years ago. It basically all branches, and they rolled out a nationwide thing, and they had regional race coordinators, and it was a really good concept. But you know, it's mostly all volunteers, and you know, people that were on active duty got assigned to different areas. It just kind of never
Caught on.
No, you know, even in San Diego, which is huge. You know, there's bases everywhere. It never caught on. I think they didn't have a local. I think San Diego would have been good, but they never really had a local. You know, somebody that stepped forth and had the time and you could have. You know, that person could have done something, but you know, never really.
So Mark's talking about the FRS on his jersey.
Like Orange CLC.
It was a sponsor. One of the teams in San Diego, California. So we roll out and we've got Pete. Pete has been here with us for a few rides, and he's on the shoulder. He and John Malbrick, and I'm like, I actually would prefer for them to just use the lane here. On Saturday morning, there are 2 lanes. We can use the right lane because that shoulder at every intersection, the curb juts out. I don't really like to use that when there's a lot of riders because we had a rider a while back, not in this group, Dan, and he was by himself, I think. He hit one of those curbs and he injured himself. So in a group, I really prefer for the group to use the main lane here. if you by yourself, it's easier to see where the curve just are. You'll see it in a little bit. They have to come over as we approach that intersection now. You see, Laura, I think Laura was already on the road. John's come over. If you look to the right, you'll see the curve from the other street. Because this is just there because they want to protect this road. When it rains, this area floods when we have a lot of rain. So water settles. So that's just to prevent the road from washing away. And it's like a breakdown lane for the most part. So they're not really concerned about the safety of cyclists going through that intersection because it's not a bike path. So John is again there. You see how he dodged that little lip of the curb there? By yourself, it's easier to be aware of that, but in the group, it can be tricky. So they continue to go back and forth. I'm like, in my mind, like, just get on the road. When I ride solo, I ride where you see there, where John is, because it's easier when you're by yourself. So I told Mike, I'm just going to go to the front to kind of let them come on the road. I'm going to just go to the front, raise the pace a little bit. I want everybody on the road. It's just better than this darting at every intersection. You got to kind of come over. Here comes another one. You see the curb jutting out, so John has to come on the road.
This route is a terror to
right
you.
there.
I love it.
I never do that. I don't ride by the curb like that. I use the road of its corners.
Isn't that awesome?
When you're by yourself, it's easier to navigate than when you're in the group.
Yeah, there were some times when I was driving.
So in a little bit, I'm going to go to the front and raise the pace, so everybody can kind of use the lane.
And I didn't know any of the routes.
Plus, it's cleaner on the lane anyway. That area there are things that are always there that you can't really see very well. And you can have little flint and stuff getting your tire. So in the group, I use the road. So right here, this part is nice and clean. So during the week when I come out here, sometimes I ride where you see John because it's busier. Saturday, you can take this in.
We're a little roller, falls flat, and man, I was suffering up on it. And then he finally stopped. He finally stopped about halfway up and said, "Hey, there's nobody here." So we pulled into this place right around 1,000 Oaks, and we waited for the
Mike's talking about a ride where I think we're probably riding
about ready to pull the pin,
I think right here is where I go to the front. So I go ahead and just raise the pace and ride up, and then in a little bit, I think Pete is going to get on my wheel. I kind of want everybody to use the road instead of straddling this white line like we're doing. I think Pete has already come on the road. That's what I wanted to accomplish. I want everybody on the road. Let's kind of stick together so the other road users can be basically shown exactly what we're doing so they can be clear. So what Paul was talking about earlier about the screen being cracked, it's a protective cover. It was just a corner. It was scratched more than cracked. So once I got back and cleaned it up, it looks fine. I didn't even have to replace it. It's those covers that you can put on your iPhone or whatever. They're like a protective film, but they're made out of glass. And they make them for these cameras as well. So we have one on the lens and we have one on the viewfinder.
Yeah. 7-Eleven.
This is Egypt Lane. turn right.
Is that English Mike?
Yep.
This area here is called Egypt. right, this little area here on the edge of the woodlands. I would never have known it had it not been for cycling, because I have no business out here. So the bicycle has taken me places that I would not have ordinarily had a reason to visit. That's another positive about our sport.
Okay.
Yeah, we showed me an even more of a shortcut on Honia, because I had, thought I discovered a shortcut going through Durango Creek neighborhood.
Yeah.
Instead of coming all the way to this big intersection.
Right.
And which is true, but he showed me one on Honia, Egypt itself. You don't even have to come out to Fishcreek.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
It is.
To have options.
Yeah, that's what makes me want to do Honia all the time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike lives
you
off
went
of
straight
1488.
Yeah.
So on this route, we
I was
ended
thinking
up
of like,
delivering
man,
him to his
that's a good, nice bump before you finish.
Yeah,
I like the
area.
Honia.
Yeah, it depends on how I feel. Like that day, I was pretty tired, so I just, took the foot off the pedal and just
Roll it.
basically just cooled down all the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Fishcreek, but I prefer coming back on Honia. I just like that road.
Yeah. I do
Honia
too.
Egypt road.
That's my
It's
favorite.
good, and you want to smash it. It's a great smash mouth road. And English Mike.
There we are.
Mike Bradbury, we call him English Mike. We got a lot of Mikes in the area. So Mike Barreras is San Diego, Texas Mike. And we have English Mike on the right there. That Mike just called.
For an organization.
And we have like a guy named Mike Gravel
Looking
Mike.
good.
We got different names for the different mics.
I like those colors.
Yeah, Laura's matching. Laura's squared away as usual. Gotta be squared away. Gotta do it right or don't do it at all. That's the way I was raised. If you're gonna do something, do it properly, not at all.
Yeah, everything is good, man. How you been?
How was the weekend? It's been a busy week.
Busy week?
So we're warming up about 18 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, I saw you were riding with Romeo.
I had a good training week.
Quite a bit.
I was able to ride
I
frequently.
thought I saw some
Not
of the
very
rides
long,
that
but
you did on the
awesome.
No, I didn't. I struggled this week.
That's Mike and Paulie Longa chat.
I have a loop from my house. Just
Oh, okay.
6
English
mile
Mike.
loop.
He was,
Yeah,
a few
because
weeks
I know
ago
I
he
get
was
the
riding
kudos
fixed
enough.
gear.
Right.
He brought his regular bike out, one of his regular bikes. So he's
I
got
got one
a
ride
Duralier
downtown.
today.
Another ride on Thursday downtown. And then yesterday I was just doing jobs.
Let's see.
Are you still commuting?
Huh?
Are you still commuting?
Yeah.
How far is your commute?
It's about the 10 miles.
Each way?
Yeah, each way. 10 to 14 sometimes, depending on which way you go.
So I'm keeping the speed governed, right about 18 miles an hour. People can chat. I think there's a car coming. We end up stopping here. I made a fist so they would know I was stopping. So he can't say cyclists don't stop.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't take chances. We spend too many hours on the bike. That dog over there, the tail is like pink, the ear is pink. I don't know if they dyed the dog or not, but the rest of the body is white. So certain neighborhoods, that dog can get beat up by other dogs just for looking like that. Pink ears, white body, pink tail.
Yeah.
These people got a lot of time on their hands. The groomer went crazy, I think. I don't believe that dog came out naturally looking like that. One day we saw a dog that the whole body was white and the head was black. that was natural. Muscular little dog. I told Paul, I said, look at that guy. His head is different than the rest of his body. The whole head was black. The rest of the body was white. It's an unusual looking dog. Got those 2 holes been there for a while. They need to fill them in. They're kind of deep. We're in the forest, and part of the one whole lane has a hole that's like a sinkhole. Everybody keeps telling us to get a mount for the camera. The camera is not hard to hold.
When I don't have it,
we're not holding the camera. The camera is just resting.
I'm missing something.
The camera rests on the hoods. That's it. You know, it's like the camera just rests on the hoods. Our hands are on the hoods, and we can brake, we can shift. The camera is just next to the hood. We're not suspending the camera the whole ride. If you can't hold something in your hand, then something wrong with your fit, because you don't pedal with your hands. You just need your hands for turning and braking. And so I'm going to roll to the front in a little bit. I think I'm already in front, yeah. Just go ahead and kind of get the ride started. We're on the open road. The FM 2978. This stretch is called Sendera Boulevard. I would have no reason to be out here other than being on the bike. So the bike takes you places that are far and frequently less traveled. At least the way we do it. I don't want to go in the metro area on my bike. I want to be stopping. I want to work out. So I seek areas that are quiet. I've visited neighborhoods I would have no reason to be visiting. And so I'm more familiar with my surrounding areas than I otherwise would have been had I been driving a car. Because I'd have to have a reason to go there in a car.
Now that you brought it before.
So cycling does broaden your horizons.
I'm not sure about that.
Paul's telling Mike that he brought a regular bike out. He's been riding a fixed gear for a bit.
I looked down and see full. I said, oh boy.
I decided to move the data. Those of you who've been watching these films for a while, move the data to the left and keep everything together. It's a lot easier to comprehend at the same time of taking in what's happening than the way I had it before. And what a positive byproduct was that the processing time was greatly enhanced by that move, because somehow the way the code works, I think it prefers to have the data grouped this way. So the processing time has been sped up, and so I'm going to be staying with this format. So I sit up there and just kind of gradually inch the pace up. You can see we're doing about 25 miles an hour now. Moderate power effort at 250. We're going to be going downhill in a little bit. This bridge that we're descending to go across, the lake that goes under it is called Lake Creek. And this lake traverses a large part of this region. To the northwest, there is a school called Lake Creek High School. So it comes all the way from 2854 and somehow ends up down here. So it comes from where we're headed. And these are all the things that I've picked up by studying the area because cycling brought me out here. So I've become very familiar with the area. Somebody dropped one of those pallets of, the little pads, basically the sod. You know, pay good money for that stuff to drop it on the highway. Probably doing transport. I keep pedaling, even though we just left the downhill. It's leveled off here. I think as we approach this light, it goes yellow. We continue. So you see it's green right now. As soon as we get there, there's only about 7 of us in the pace line, so we made it clear that we're going through. I think John was the one who said we're going. We already had entered this. I pull off, but then Pete stayed on my wheel, and then Laura goes ahead and takes the lead. Pete had told us he was tired when he showed up. He told us in the parking lot that he'd been riding every day. This training week, and he was tired. And I just told him, hey, you can ride every day, but you don't have to ride fast every day. So that's why he didn't want to go through at that point anyway. I slipped in behind, I believe, Paul. And Laura takes over. This is a good effort here because this road is about 1% or so, mostly, and then we have some bumps. But it's a grade. And then the wind is out here. The wind is from the south. I don't know if it's southeast or southwest. It's blowing from the south, but it's over here. We don't have a tailwind. When we get on 2854, we get a tailwind, which is kind of weird because we are headed north. But I guess, you know, depending on how this road is situated, you see, if you look at the graphic above the cyclist head who's spinning there, northwest and then north, they're kind of in between. So we're not going perfectly north. I guess that's why. But we got a little bit of a tailwind. This is English Mike on Laura's wheel. Paulie Lunga is with the camera on his wheel. You can see the grade says 1%. Kind of ninja grade. This entire stretch. It's a drag, and then you have a few dips in, but then you have some bumps up to 3.5% at Ridge Lake Shores, or 3%, something like that. So you work in this direction. You heard Mike Barreras say that he likes Honia Egypt Road. There's something about that road. It just makes you want to put your head down and work. I like it too. Even with all the shavings they've done in those corners, that road didn't have, I don't think it was necessary. People need to slow down when it's wet. They coddle people here too much. Scraping the road. The road had smooth asphalt. They've scraped it all up. And they've done that in several places. Even when we went to Shepherd Hill, they went out there and did that foolishness. It would make too much sense for these people to slow down when it's wet. Yeah, we're moving here. It's at 23, 24 miles an hour. I'm sitting in at 300 plus watts. The road's going up, that's why. And the wind. I think it's coming from the east. From the right. Laura is smooth. And so is English Mike. Mike Bradbury. It's all that fixed gear work he's been doing. I did fixed gear training for one season, off season. After that, I was kind of bored with it. I had an actual track bike. I only used it at the velodrome. I didn't go to the velodrome that much. We have one in the area called the Alkek Velodrome. It's on the west side. The road's starting to go up here. You can visually see it. Yeah, it says 2%. See my watts, 400 something. So if you're bigger, you got to put more watts down to get up the climb. That's the way it is. So you got to work and improve your ability to handle the higher watts per kilo for longer durations. Approaching Rich Lake Shores, going through the intersection. It's usually around 3%. I think that's what it says, 3.5. I think Laura's going to pull off after that. So if you're going to work together with the other members of the group, there's 7 of us on this ride. You want to make sure that you saw how when Mike went through here, he kind of just kept the same tempo pretty much. He didn't change much from what Laura was doing. And when she pulled off, the road leveled off for him. So he just rolled on through. She backed off the effort. That will allow her to get in there and settle in because she took a long pull. So to encourage people to come through and take a pull, if you're working in a pace line, avoid the urge to surge all the time, especially if the group has made it clear that it's a non-racing kind of situation. You know, some groups ride like, you know, race style, and then that's what everybody's doing. That's okay. That can make you stronger if you go with the surges. But in a group where you're trying to just, let's say you're doing a long ride, 100 miles or 80 miles or whatever, and you're just trying to keep things steady, that's the way. Avoid the urge of changing the speeds too dramatically. We don't have a particular rule in our group. We just do whatever, depending on who's here. We just kind of roll, and that keeps the fun. But there are groups that will specify that this is a steady pace and so forth and so on. So you got to try to find out when you hook up with a new group, what are they doing? Just kind of follow along for a while. Check them out. You know, if it's a group like ours where anything goes, then fine. You know, once you figure that out or you talk to a few people, a lot of times you don't have to say anything. Just kind of watch and see what people are doing. But don't just show up at a group ride, new to the group, and then go to the front not knowing what they're doing, because you might be in for a surprise. As Mike Barreras says, it's one thing to overestimate your abilities, but it's another thing to underestimate the abilities of who you're riding with. So you better know who you're riding with before you try stuff. You might hit the Chinese wall, as Mo calls it. So depending on the kind of ride, your ride mates, how long it is, save a little something. Just give yourself time. Be aware. Pay attention. Observe. Don't be in too much of a hurry. Don't burn all your matches. Just remember, every ride is different based on who shows up, the time of year, the terrain, the conditions. You know, you can ride the same route all the time, and 1 week to the next is completely different in how the ride displays its character. So we start this overpass. And if you look at my cadence at the top of the screen, I'm not going to fan a small gear at 110 or 105 on this climb. You end up using so much energy, calories. I like to feel the gear. So 85 to 95, thereabouts. This is a small grade. I mean, it's not that much, 3.5. The longer the climb, the rhythm will change. You know, when it levels off, you can rev it up. We're going to be turning in about a mile on Capitol Hill Road. So Mike Barreras liked to point out that the little guys like to surge on the hill. And so he said, we need to make them work just as hard on the flats. He said, because we end up doing like big gear intervals, us big guys, because we got to put out 450, 500 watts every time they surge on these rollers. So he said, we need to get to where they're working just as hard on the flat roads. But I think the biggest thing is that, you know, he's right, but the thing is, I don't really worry too much about what these guys are doing. What I try to make sure I do is I have something left so that when the road does favor me, I can go ahead and push and make sure they're not feathering the pedals. I can't really say what he says on here because this is a family channel. He calls it something else. If he's listening, he knows. So we got to make them be honest. That's what he's saying. We've let them just surge and then they rest when they want to. So at the top of the hill, they want to rest. He said, no, you got to go. So Paul goes through. He's going to pull off in a little bit. So don't let them rest at the top of the hill. Us big guys need to force the pace through. If you got anything left, and keep it going on the downhill and on the flat, so they have to work after that. Then it will settle down. If they're working all the time, they won't have anything left to surge on the hill. What I do when I'm pulling, if I'm feeling good and I see out of the corner of my eye anybody start coming up on me, I just raise the power to about 450, 550, and usually they'll settle back down, you know. So that's Pete over there who told us he was tired. He surged off the front. So don't listen to cyclists when they tell you they're tired. Guess he forgot he was tired. I moved to the right because I'm descending a lot faster than they are. I'm about 84 kilos now. 185 pounds. That's what Mike is telling me. that's what Mike's telling me. He said, hey, we need to make sure these guys are working on the flats as well. I heard it. But when we get to the store, I tell him, I said, don't say it anymore. We'll just show it with our legs. You know, so it's like, he said, we can't just sit back and let them surge on these rollers and then rest after the top. Then they have energy to surge again. He said, so you got to make sure if you got something, you make them work. I mean, unless you can ride them off your wheel, you don't want to just go through and pull them all day long. And Mike's looking around. Mike acts like he's in a crit. You will see when we get to Taco Corner, he takes a wide turn. We go wide and we open a gap before we get to the store. Mike has racing in his blood. He hasn't forgotten it. This is a good pace. I mean, you know, doing about 22 miles an hour. And this is a slight grade. It's about 1% or so. The only thing with all this slimming down, I gotta get all my favorite shorts and stuff and get them taken in because I've got about 1.5 inches around the waist. And I took the shortcut of taking a safety pin on one of them and just kind of squeeze it together and use the safety pin to hold it because it won't stay on me. I want to walk, you know, if I can't even put a belt on there because the belt doesn't go far enough to hold it. So, but I've got this lady that I've used for many years that does a great job altering stuff. Because the shorts are in pretty good condition. I'm not getting rid of them. It's less expensive to pay her to fix them, especially in the summertime. I don't want to get any smaller. My body's just settling. I'm not trying to lose anything. It's just settling. My frame is the same. It's just around my midsections leaning out. I think it's where men carry a lot of excess weight. It's around our middle. I need to make a video about what I've done to drop the 10 pounds. Because it's not easy losing weight. You know, you put it on because you're not watching. And you just put it on because, you know, your lifestyle. And then before you know it, when it hits you, you're like, oh, I got to get it off. Then it becomes an issue. That car was trying to pull out of the road. Laura waved at him to make sure that he did not. So she checks, it's clear. I downshift here. Look at my cadence. It's gonna go up just a bit. Yeah, 101. I downshift just to rev up so I didn't have to stand. You notice my heart rate is 125 or something like that? I don't know what's been going on, but the last few weeks, I guess I'm riding a lot. It's taking more and more work for me to hit the higher heart rates. Normally I used to hit like 175 and so forth. Now it's like 162 feels like I'm at threshold, you know, sometimes depending on how I'm feeling. But that's just normal. As you get fitter, your resting heart rate decreases. So in the morning, my heart rate's like 38, between 38 and 42. That's usually where it is, beats per minute. When I'm rested, it's about 38. So here I'm using a reasonable amount of cadence, probably around 90, 90 RPM.
You big guys should be able to climb. Come on!
Yeah, Mike Bradbury is messing with Mike Barreras because he always talks about the little guys like to. Sir, you see, Chef Poussin came up, but Laura didn't back off the effort, so he stayed over there. Mike giving Chef Poussin a hard time. He said, you should be putting out watts, not sitting up. Oh, man. So after those 2 bumps, see my heart rate is 164. A while back it would be like 174. I don't know what Mike's doing here, but he keeps doing that, and then you'll see in about maybe a mile or 2, somebody's coming around and passing him on the left, and he's not aware, and he goes left, and they almost touch wheels. But he handled it well. You'll see that. So I'll go around Laura. Laura pulled up. Mike went to the left. I go to the right. I saw him. And I'm going to raise the pace, and we're going to go. We're going to keep it going. That wind, the wind is here. I'm going to zip up my jersey. That's why I love this jersey that allows you to do one-hand zip. I'm using my left hand to zip it up, and then I get down to the business of riding. I'm going through the gears. We're going slightly downhill. 25, 26 miles an hour, almost 27 miles an hour. We're moving here. I'm messing around. Now right here, I'm going to accelerate some more. Right there. I think it's here, somewhere here. Yeah, right there. I just kicked it up a little bit. I'm in a large gear, like a 16 or a 15 or something like that. Mike, I don't know what he says to me. Something. Yeah, he said I should be putting out big watts on the flats. I said, come on, go through. But he doesn't want to go through. Mike hadn't been training as much as he usually does. And so he sits there. And so what's his name? Pete. Pete wants to come on the left right there. Mike doesn't see him. See that? That was a good catch. And so Pete comes to take the pull, and I get on Pete's wheel. So Mike didn't see Pete coming over on the left. But you got to be looking all around, like, you know. But Mike caught it, so he swung back, and then Pete was very aware, so that they didn't touch wheels. Mike didn't want to pull right there. He's a little behind on his training because of the move, and so he's very stingy with when he puts out the effort and so forth, which is the way you should be. There are times when you sit in, there are times when you go through and put your nose in the wind. I've talked about it on our prior videos. There's no point in you taking a pull and then having trouble later staying with the group. You might as well just sit in. Nobody will mind. They'll understand. This speed on this road, like mill route, 22, 23 miles an hour. Mill route is up and down, twisty. I like it because you're working. To get any kind of speed on this road, you have to be working. We're working to hold 20, 21 miles an hour on this thing. Look at it visually going up. If it say 1%, it's a little more than that. Especially up there. It's always going up. Yeah, it's at 2 to 3. It's 2 to 3. So you're always working on mill ride in either direction. Mike's still talking back there. This section of the ride was so fast that when we got to Taco Corner, I told him, I said, I don't know, we're gonna have to drop the effort. I don't know if we can keep this up for 4 hours. This is about 44 minutes into 4 hours with the group, you know. Now, I had been doing a lot of pulling. I had pulled earlier on, and then, let's see. Well, then I just pulled back there on South Pine. So John, who is Clément Champoussin, by the way, Clément Champoussin is no longer with the AG2R Citron La Mondiale team. He has moved to Team Arkea Semsic, the same team that Nairo Quintana is on. So he sees it. And he's going to, when Pete pulls off, he's going to pull through and take the lead. So Pete pulls off over there, but he doesn't slow down. He keeps the same speed. I don't change my speed. I keep the same speed he was holding in the pace line. I'm not going to accelerate. I just keep riding. And then he slows down a little bit. So right here, John is going to go around me because he knows I've been pulling for a while. I guess I'm not going fast enough. So he comes around, I raise my pace. You see my watts go up. The road's going up here. Mike said he's gonna sit up. That's what he was talking about. They'll push on the rollers and then sit up after the rollers. He said we've let them get away with that for too long. I don't pay it no mind. But in a little bit, when we start to go up 2854. Once he sits up, I go ahead and raise the pace on the descent, and the road kind of levels off, and I just keep the effort up hard. I go around him here because I'm not sure why he's slowing down so much. I move wide so I can check left for traffic and let them know I put my arm out that it's clear. So he's going to come back around. I'm going to accelerate and get in. I had good legs on this ride. This is where it seemed like we had a tailwind. I don't know if it was just me experiencing it, but It felt like a tailwind the whole stretch. So we're doing 40 kilometers an hour, and this thing is a grade. We usually do about 33, 34K, about 22, 21. So yeah, I think this was somewhat wind aided here. Doesn't make it any easier because we're still on a grade. It's a ninja grade here. I moved to the right because those little reflectors right there, I wanted to make sure I could see them. In a little bit, I will move to the right again so I can see the line. I don't want to go over those things. And that little crack there, I try to avoid it. You see, I'm to the right of the crack. I don't want to ride in that crack. It feels odd. It won't catch your wheel, but it just it feels weird when you go over it. I'm probably riding in a 5317, something like that, or 5316, which is a good size gear. So you got to be able to turn a large gear fairly fast. You know, spinning a little gear will only get you so far. You gotta be able to spin a big gear. You gotta feel the burn. We're still on a slight grade. In a couple of kilometers, we're going to level off. Right around here kind of levels off, and I would just feel the power back off. This is what Mike Barrera's been talking about. He's like, they push on these rollers and then they want to take a break when the road levels off. So he said we need to make sure people are working on the rollers and on the flats. If we got to do big gear intervals on the rollers, we need to make them do big gear intervals on the flats. I use my mirror, and I know there's no traffic coming, so I'm using the main lane. Nice smooth asphalt. Right here, I just go ahead and go because it's backing off the power too much. So we're about 30 miles an hour. 27 miles an hour. It's leveled off. It's no longer a descent. It's flat. Right here it's flat. They may say -1. It will probably switch to 0 soon, but it's flat this stretch. And so I can feel the gear. We're doing about 27 miles an hour. And that wind is whipping around. I just put my head down. approaching the red light. There's a traffic signal in the distance. So I back off. There's a lot of stuff on the debris on the shoulder there. But then the light will change. There's a car in front of me. That's why Paul has backed off here. But that car was a little slow to go through. And then he finally does. And I go ahead and get on the power. We'll go through the intersection. We'll rarely catch this light green. This is unusual. I see Paul coming in my mirror once he gets on. Then Mike Barreras will come and give me his wheel. This is how you give somebody a wheel. See that? I didn't have to do anything. It was just there. So now John's in the wind here. He ain't got no wheel. He wasn't close enough to Mike. So Mike just slipped me the wheel. I got on the wheel. And he continues the effort up here. This is a grade. It gets to about probably 2.5%. It's very exposed. So you feel the wind. That's why I'm staying a little to his left, because the wind is whipping from the right. You notice my cadence is around 90-ish, you know, because I want to be able to snap that gear faster when necessary. We're doing about 20 miles an hour up this thing. It's about probably 2%. It says 1. It's more than that. Varies, but you can feel it. Mike's in a big gear. And I says 2%. This is why your fit needs to be dialed in. You see me putting power to the bike without my body moving, just my legs. Because right here, we're really pushing hard. You see the watts go up to almost 400. Clement Chapoussin, Team Arkea Semsig, John Malbrecht. I'm going to miss saying the AG2R Citroën La Mondiale team. Mike Barreras told me that Clement Chapoussin has switched teams. I went and looked up which team he's on and found out he's with Arkea Semsig. We're going to do a right turn. I tell him we're turning right. It's hot. What's the temperature? It's about 26. It says 26 Celsius. It feels warmer. It's a very muggy morning because when we got there, we were drenched. We take a wide turn here and we open a gap. So we're gonna go to like 30 miles an hour, 32, 33 miles an hour. You see the watts go up. I'm jumping on. I'm trying to get on Mike's wheel, and almost 50 kilometers an hour. 32 miles an hour. We're moving. There's a gap that opened. I think Paul turns the camera around. On that corner, when we took it that wide, the gap opened real quickly. That's how you do it on Criterion or a road race. And we're going downhill, so you know we're not putting out big ones. Stores in the distance. You'll see Mike make sure that I know that he's turning into Taco Corner, because a lot of times we don't necessarily stop him, but he makes it clear that he's turning. He said, "I'm turning." He said, "Going in," because you don't want me going straight and then you're turning. Yeah. Yeah, Paul said, woo.
Good morning, ladies.
This is Taco Corner.
good for Mike.
in Montgomery County, Texas, the city of
There's
Montgomery.
400 watts on the flat.
Yeah.
Mike.
She was going uphill. On the way to Woosie.
Oh man.
Yeah, well,
Mike is crazy.
I got a 10-day block of vacation.
Quit all that talking stuff. We're shooting with our legs.
Yeah, I told Mike that you need to just show him with your legs and give our climbers a hard time. This is, we are back in Magnolia, Texas. We're about ready to go on the overpass. We're going north here, then we're gonna go east, going back into town. So you're gonna hear Mike say somebody must be pissing in the wind. There's always someone wants to. So I'm trying to keep the pace steady, you know. And Clement Champousson from Team Arkea Semsik, John Balbrecht, is too slow for him.
Somebody's always got a piss in the wind.
Go ahead. I'm
Mike. Mike is truly old school. So I just raise the pace and ride and get up to John's wheel. Mike is a character. Squared away. It was a very, very nice ride. You know, 7 riders. We ended up, there's 6 of us here because Pete did like, I guess 2/3 of the route. He turned back when we got to 149 after we went through the forest. He had told us he was a little tired, but it was the right size group to where you got to get to the front. If you wanted to work, you got your opportunity. And it was just good work. That's what I enjoyed about it. And at this point in the ride, the humidity was not that bad. We're coming back and the wind's blowing from the right, from the south, which is on our right. We're headed east. And it was very pleasant at this time. I was very surprised because we were drenched when we got to the top of the corner. Laura had to take off her arm sleeve. She said she was running hot and put on sunblock. I wear sunblock myself because the arm sleeves last week I just felt hot with them on, so I didn't wear any on this ride. I've got like a 30 SPF or whatever it's called, SPF 30. That's what I use. It's not greasy. It's for sporting events. I think it's Coppertone or something, the brand. So when we come through here, there is a lane coming from the right because this is almost like an exchange. Because this overpass was just built for the train to go over the train track. So we always look to the right there to make sure there's no cars coming. And then we stay in this turn lane that just added. This used to be, I believe, our shoulder. They made it wider. There are shopping centers on the right. They have I think it's an HEB on the right. So we make sure we use this lane so that if cars need to turn, they have to get behind us. That's what you want to do. In this situation, you don't want to be on the shoulder because they might turn in front of you. And, you know, so we use this lane to make it clear we're going straight. Yeah, Paul's letting them know they live near here. They live in an area called Lake Windcrest. So we're basically going by where they live. Mike's going to turn off first, and then Mike B, and then English Mike, because he's also Mike B, Bradbury. English Mike back here will turn off later. But Mike Barreras will turn off first because he wants to cool down. He didn't really want to ride here. I think somebody, he told Champousson, I just want to chat with Eldred, my friend, or something like that. I end up drifting to the back. This is a good road if you're going to do like a rotating pace line. The shoulder is nice and wide for at least 16K, I would say probably 10 miles. This thing goes all the way to Interstate 45 in this direction. And I think in that direction it goes to Prairie View. It's a long road. I'm drifting to the back, drifting off the front. There's one way to slow the group down is go to the front and do your pace. That's what Mike's doing. So we started our ride at 7 a.m. That's the new start time. We ride to the ride. Laura rides to the ride. It gives everyone a chance because at about almost 5:45 to 6, the sun starts coming out. But 7 o'clock is a decent starting time. When you start doing 6:30, it can be a challenge for other riders. And you kind of want to keep your start times fairly consistent. So during the summer, we move it from 7:30 to 7. That the group decided last week to move it to 7. So I suggested let's keep that time until the cold weather comes back, which is going to be like probably November. Because around here, we don't get early fronts usually, but who knows? With the weather has been, we're getting a lot of rain, and so our summer has been nice and wet. Well, summer's not here yet. Another 10 days or so, 11 days will be summer. I think June 22nd, 21st to the 22nd is the first day of summer officially. We're still in spring, technically. This road is heavily frequented by cyclists. A lot of triathletes like to come out here and work on their time trial. Nice wide shoulder. It's a lot of stuff far to the right. Some of them you can't see. So we usually stay where you see Champoussin and Laura. That's where you want to kind of stay, within a foot. Somebody dropped that pole. I rode out there Sunday and it was still there. Somebody dropped it's a nice PVC pipe. Those things you buy from Home Depot. Must have fallen off a work truck or something. Drop all the supplies. They probably pass that cost on to the customer. I think Mike's pulling off the front or something. I don't know what John's doing. John's in red, which is the same color as Team Arkea Semsik, although he's wearing GCN kit today. The Global Cycling Network. This road goes up here. It's a slight grade. See the watts. So that's just what Mike's talking about. We got to work. You end up doing so many big gear intervals. You got to do what you got to do. Plus 2%. Okay. stay a little to the left because the wind is mostly coming from the right. Although this section right here is somewhat protected because of those trees you see there. You always got to be aware of where that draft is. Someone just raised the pace. I just pedal fast. So Mike's letting us know that he's going to be turning here. This area on the right is a huge area called Lake Windcrest, and that's where he resides. Also, Mike B up front, English Mike resides in there as well. We have a lot of cyclists that live in there, and there are many entrances and exits. He's taking this one, so we bid him farewell. I'm dodging the reflectors over there. Somebody dropped some rocks over there. There's all kinds of stuff all over the road. And you know they buy those rocks. The little, they call them crushed rocks, I guess. You cut them, they're like gravel that you put in, like, sometimes it makes them with concrete, or you can use them like when you're xeriscaping, that kind of stuff. You see them on the highway a lot. Just, probably just falling off the truck that's transporting them. And they charge the customer for the whole load. Drop half of it on the highway. You see the speeds pick up? Almost 50 kilometers an hour. That's like 30, 31 miles an hour. The road's flat here, so the effort is not as intense. But still, once you get above 25 miles an hour, you're working because you're fighting that drag. Mike's almost home, so he's pushing it so he can get off the front. Because this whole area here is one compound. It's huge. Everything you see on the right, all those trees, it's spread out for several miles and they go all the way south. It's a huge area called Lake Windcrest. We're on the open road, the FM 1488 Eastbound in Magnolia, Texas. Wrapping up this ride. You can see how long we've been riding without having to stop. That's why we like coming out here. High exercise potential. So we are still in Montgomery County, which is a bordering county to Harris County, the biggest county in the area. Those of you in the California area, like probably your biggest county in the LA area is Orange or something like that. Ours is Harris. But Montgomery County here, they don't mess around. You come out here and cause a ruckus, they're gonna lock you up and throw away the key. So they don't coddle people who misbehave. Mike's going home. He's gonna take one of these entrances. I think we've already passed Windcrest. Yeah, I guess it's gonna turn around. I don't think that yeah, I don't know if you can go through here and get back to Windcrest. There might be another entrance here. So John is at the front now. We're just a few miles outside of the woodlands. Probably 5 or 6 miles. Yeah, you can go through here and go to Windcrest. There's an elementary school somewhere around here, if I remember correctly. I come out here sometime during the week. There's an area called Cimarron. We'll go out there. A lot of deer, some rollers. Close to home, somewhat. Yeah, the watts are down. You can see I'm doing like 180 or something like that. So we've got a bit of a tailwind. It's a cross tailwind. So it must be blowing from the southwest because we're cruising at 40 kilometers an hour, 25 miles an hour, and I'm under 200 watts. So yeah. See the flags? That's from the south. That's what blowing. That's why I'm staying to Laura's left. There's a red light. This is Cimarron Boulevard.
Wind up.
Downshift here a bit. This is a slight grade. This gets us up to Tamina. It says 1%, but it felt harder. I guess maybe we're getting tired. And it stays as a drag all the way to the intersection up there at Tamina Boulevard. We're going to turn right. This is Tamina Boulevard. I'm going to get off and turn to, there's a neighborhood street on the left. John pulls off. I was about to start pulling, and then Paul said, good ride. So
Good ride, you guys.
It's a very good ride. We had fun. Very good ride. We had great company, good effort. We just rode. We didn't mess around. You know, we stopped the taco, filled our bottles, used the restroom, boom, back on the bike. Hit the forest, Johnson, Dacus, got something to drink. Boom, 2 stops. That's it. When I do the route, I put all the possible stops out there, but we decide which ones we're going to use. So this is kind of like the cool down part of the ride, but we're still riding, but we're not hammering or anything.
Good pull back there, man. Good pull back there. Oh, thanks.
So our group is getting faster every week, and it's being fun. But we gotta do the work during the week to get ready for the next Saturday because we don't know who's gonna show up. so that the group motivates you to get out, get on your bike. You know, because if you're gonna do the rides, you gotta have some decent fitness. You know. The road's going up here. Laura's gonna ask what are we turning. I tell her, I said no, it's the second one. I realized it was 2%. It's a nice little bump. We come through here all the time.
All right.
It's a quiet
I feel
area.
the ride now.
I feel the ride now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you slow down. It's like you have to get your leg going again. You know, but
Ooh, nice clean truck.
Initiated. I love
Yeah. It's 10:55.
we got back before 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 10:55
That was a good
a.m.
ride, man.
and we left at 7. We stopped twice. We stopped for maybe 20 minutes. 10 minutes
Yeah.
each time, let's say, something like that.
The breeze was
Very
actually
efficient.
forgiving for you.
So 4 hours. That's the range. Get back around 11, and that way it's not too hot yet. It doesn't really get very, very hot until about 2 o'clock. From 2 to 5, it's very hot. You don't want to be out there, you know, unless you're really used to it. But still, but being on the bike is different than running or walking.
Oh, look at that mess up there. I don't like that. All right, thank you.
He's talking about this guy on the left. There's a guy that stopped the truck for us. They're doing some kind of construction over there. Hope they're not building another gas station. We don't need any more gas stations. We got enough.
That's something that you realize you're right. When he's in good shape, he does exactly the thing he's
Thursday, he was on the front. Taking the rhythm.
So this is what Mike Beredas called the love ride. This is the part of the ride where we kind of cool down and chat and spin back in the town. So I don't know what you did on Saturday, but this is part of what we did. Remember, get your K's in and keep all the doctors fired.